Hello, this is Jared playing Oxygen Not Included. In the last episode, I've taken the temperature down in this rocket here. Still 100 or so degrees, but the water that's sitting here is slowly dropping. So I decided I'm going to spend a little bit of time and design the outside of this rocket. So now I have a doorway that goes out, cool down the temperature a bit. Actually, I think we're still bringing in liquid water. Let's go outside and stop that process first of all. So I will make a cut in the water pipe, let's say right here. So no more water needs to go in. Excellent, we built or destroyed these two tiles. Actually, oh no. That means this dupe, or these dupes over here, they're actually stuck until this is built. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Let's make that a priority task to get built. Otherwise, those dupes are not coming back home. Alright, so we've got a ladder and a fire pole here. Just thought that made it a little bit easier to get the dupes back and forth to the back section of this rocket. And my thinking is this. I might as well have all the morale building stuff, like a washroom, a great hall and all that, over on this side, which is close to the door. And furthest away from the dupes, this will be all the life-sustaining systems that I'm going to build into this. Now, this is my very first time building a rocket that has an actual escape where you can build stuff outside here, so I'm sure this will have various versions as I'm going through this, but this is version 1. And my thinking, as I mentioned, is all the life-sustaining stuff in the far back. So let's go through this. I already have a cooling system from the last episode. I'm going to keep this in place. So I have 2 thermoregulators. I'm going to have an infinite storage for water. So that's going to be my source of oxygen. So I'll want to have a lot of water on this particular rocket. I'm going to have a place to convert polluted water, get rid of the disease that's in it. And then I'll put that through a water sieve somewhere around here. And finally, a place to produce some oxygen. So there'll be an electrolyzer here with 3 pumps, 1 designed for hydrogen and 2 for oxygen. A temporary ladder here so the dupes can create all of this. So we'll get these dupes to create these few things, and then we'll go on and see what the next part of this design is going to be all about. So we made a little bit of progress here. Got a place to store water, to treat the water, and to produce oxygen. A little bit more work in terms of piping that. But now what I'm doing is creating 2 floors here because I'd like to decide where I'm going to put this system to convert polluted water to regular water. Let's see, thinking about this location right here. And then we'll get some pipes, both gas and water, liquid pipes in and around here to make this thing all work out. So we'll put in a little bit of pumping, and I sealed off the water storage area. First thing I'm doing is I built a temporary pump in here to take all this water that was used for cooling down and just put it in our infinite water storage. So the idea is it's going to go through this here if it can and output liquid water that'll be used in the base. Otherwise, if it can't, it's going to go into one of these. And I store petroleum here with the idea is these liquid vents will never become overpressured. So more and more liquid water will be sent up here. And this pump will have access to plenty of water for various different purposes. So we should have now a water output pipe. I'm going to send this in various different locations, including, of course, down here, to produce oxygen. I'll have a washroom. I'm thinking of having the washroom somewhere around here. And I'll be connecting this. This is essentially going to be the polluted line going in here. We need a little bit of automation and seal this off with a little bit of chlorine, so maybe I'll do that next. So we closed up this zone here, but not before putting in a little bit of bleach stone, so I get a tiny bit of chlorine in this area. Make sure that I've got all the piping in this. So this is the polluted water. It's going to go in with some germs. It's going to be treated sitting in here. I've got timers set up here with NOT gates indicating that it should hold in this pipe for at least enough time, a third of the cycle, to kill all the stuff before it's allowed out of that zone. So add a few more tiling and experiment going on up here. First of all, this is kind of interesting. Can I use an enclosed telescope and go around the star map and view things that way instead of the typical like build a module on the rocket itself? That's one thing I'd like to know. If that's the case, this sounds like it'd be a lot easier way. The other thing is, can I use the mission control station to A, give myself a boost, and if not, can I give other rockets that are in the area a boost? So putting that in there. Just see what happens. That may not turn out, but I certainly want to know if that's the case. The other thing I want to know, and it seems like I already know my answer, cannot build inside a rocket. You can't get a rocket platform inside a rocket, which I thought might have very interesting use cases if you could, but it looks like that's not a possibility. So adding 2 new components to this rocket. One is a big one, a place to store food. And food that'll last forever. If I get hydrogen up here, for instance, and get that to freezing temperature, which should be easy enough. Plus, I also have a hydrogen generator, so I can actually produce power other than the solar panels. And that's nice because I'm going to be producing a lot of hydrogen from this guy here. In fact, I'm actually going to be taking the pipe. It's going to do some little filtering for hydrogen. And it's going to sort of store hydrogen along these pipes before it actually gets down here. If I put in a smart battery, it'll actually make things run even better, as long as hydrogen doesn't become backed up. So building a washroom inside here. So that's going to give a morale bonus to the dupes when they're here, but they also have the ability to use the washroom, use the lavatory, and of course wash their hands on the way out. And just add that extra little bit. I put automated lights so they can see when they're in here as well. Of course, every room has to have drywalling because this is going to leak gas out in space otherwise. But we'll have that in there. I'm also going to have some oxygen vents in here. Of course, I'm going to have to put drywalling everywhere first. So this area up here is complete. Not going to actually do any cooling until, well, for the same reason, until there's drywalling everywhere. This area down here has been sealed off. All I need to do is get some water into this zone. So I've got a pipe here. I'm going to be sending that, connect this essentially with that down there at some point. And that'll be, I think that's going to be the whole liquid line. What is, oh, this is a temporary stuff. Let's actually get rid of that since it's actually not needed anymore. Oh no, this part here still need it, won't it? Just cancel that little section there. We are out of iron. Let's go, I'll go produce some. So now I've thrown in a great hall and a recreation room. So the great hall is going to give a +6 to morale. And the recreation room is a chance for the dupes to potentially talk to some dupes that are on a different asteroid. Otherwise, they may enjoy talking to themselves in the rec room. Going to put in 4 private bedrooms. And rating this rocket to be for 4 dupes at a time. So they get 4 places to eat, 4 places to sleep. And if they're on different cycles, they can use the washroom at a different time. In fact, I could have made the washroom a lot smaller if I ensured that they're all on break in different times. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to make changes to this as I think about the different things I would want on a rocket going forward, but I think this is a pretty decent setup so far. So we've got private bedrooms, or we'll have that soon. We have storage area down here. Probably don't need all that much space. Decided I'm going to bring the heavy wires around here, but the rest of the rocket is just going to have this conductive wire with transformer right about here. Got that disabled because I, of course, don't have this in the gaseous area. Don't want it to overheat. Alright, a little bit more drywalling, some beds, and I think we'll have this potentially ready to go. So I have dupes over on this world. They've been collecting various materials such as gold amalgam and enriched uranium. Looks like the rocket is pretty much full over here. So we can destroy some of this stuff and rebuild some stuff to be able to get this rocket back home, so that the next episode we can experiment with that enriched uranium. So I'd very much like to get my hands on more of that back in the homeworld. Turn the transformer on for the first time. Gonna make sure this doesn't overheat. But what I've done? Oh, petroleum got in there. That is disgusting. I don't know if that was just a one-time thing, but let's get that out. Get one of the dupes that has the plumbing skills there, and we'll reconnect that. Let's just make sure we have dupes that have that skill. Let's see, yeah, oh yeah, I would definitely have a lot of dupes that have the plumbing skill. So, yeah, unfortunately we're not going to have that go through until I get someone scoop that out for us. But the other thing that I want to do is put in some of these suit stations here. Don't want to have that enabled, so I'll disable that as soon as it gets put in. That's going to allow the dupes to actually take off their suits when they go in this zone, which will be nice. Put in several of these. This will have 5. Oops, we missed one. This is station. Suit. Oh, can't put it there. What? Ah, okay. Alright, let's just need to destroy that. Alright, see, the dupe has finally scooped that out. Petroleum sitting above it. So now I'm going to get water going down. The main thing I want to focus is water going in here. I've got these things pumping. Didn't actually expect this would have any gas in it. Oh, I didn't select it. Filtering. Let's see. This one here is meant for oxygen. Breathable oxygen. This one here is meant for hydrogen. So that's unbreathable. Hydrogen somewhere's around here we go. So that's selected. So now we should see a little bit of hydrogen in there. I'll just leave that alone. But the idea here is I'm going to get oxygen pushed in and vented out so the dupes can breathe that when they're in around here. And that's going to help the transformer stay cool. A little bit of artistic work going on. We've got a place to eat, place to use washroom, storage area, place for the dupes to sleep. I'm going to get this system on. I want hydrogen to be up in this top zone, so maybe I'll vent it out like this, and we'll actually connect that in to that line. I think I'm taking the temperature somewhere's this. Yeah, let's make that a very cold temperature. That's for our food storage. We'll get this going. Let's see, disable that building right there. I can see one of the dupes already took off their suit. Not ideal. But if I disable that, that means... Are they stuck? I don't think so if that's disabled, right? This could be a very bad situation. Oh no, they can leave now. Alright, let a little bit more oxygen fill up in here and we'll be back for the last few changes. Main one that I can see is I've got a cooling line that goes around this spot here. This used to be a steam turbine. But I'll have that go all around the rocket. Probably important to get down here, and that's going to maintain the temperature of the rocket itself. So as things warm up, this cooling system will keep the rocket happy. A long time ago, I've got pips to plant these sleet wheat, and looks like the first few are harvest ready. Now I've got two options. I can either allow them to just manually fall off in time, saving a little bit of work. Or if I want to push out a little bit more food, I could. Maybe I'll do this for the first few of them. mark these wild plants for harvest. So I'll do that for the first 6 here. I should see dupe up here. That's going to drop some sleet wheat seeds. I already have automation with this conveyor loader and auto sweeper and conveyor loader to pick up that seed and store it in a place where it's not going to go bad. So I would suspect that one of the dupes should be on the way soon to do that. We should... Oh, here, this is probably them there. Going down and up here, doing a little bit of harvesting. Probably not going to do this for all the other plants, just since these are the very first ones that are ready to go. Just want to give this test. Make sure sleet wheat is actually dropped over. Looks like it is. And it's being pushed down to its food storage. Awesome. So that's sleet wheat being made for free. And if I actually didn't have that harvest, there'd be no real manual work to that at all, actually. Time to send this rocket back home. It's not fully fueled, but it has enough fuel to get home. That's the main thing. And, of course, we have a little bit of food. Can I destroy this? Change that out to a manual generator. Of course, this rocket's not as big as the other one. Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. We don't have any oxygen in here, but if we get our manual generator in, we'll be good. So as those dupes create that, just notice this rocket hasn't gone anywhere. Knowledge warning. That rocket is now taking off. Kirby. No oxygen for these guys until this thing is created. Okay, someone get on the manual generator. Now we can get the oxygen diffuser running. Someone might need to put algae in there. But, come on now, dupes. I'm going to get you to do a higher priority task. Because you guys need oxygen. Coming back with enriched uranium, gold amalgam, some other materials. Well, the buddy plant we can get planted in there. Okay, so that is a little bit of oxygen for you guys to be able to survive. Thankfully. Let's go look inside this rocket. I've changed this oxygen or hydrogen line. I don't know that was made the right bit of logic there. I think I have to make a change. Anyway, let's just leave that for now. Because what I've got is this thing here that's supposed to be looking for excess hydrogen, and that's not really, I think, the place for it. What I want to do is queue up a bunch of hydrogen in here and then indicate when I have excess hydrogen. There's essentially far too much of it, then I want to burn it. In that case, or in the case where I'm out of a little bit of power. Let's just keep this on the smart battery for now and see how that's going to go. I'm looking for hydrogen here and pumping that out because I don't want an excessive amount of hydrogen in the actual rocket itself. Over here I've got hydrogen. I'm not storing food, but that temperature is minus 25, so it's perfect case for food. In fact, you know what? Let's start by storing 25 kilograms of edible material. Just see how we get. At the bottom of the rocket is kind of funny, but I decided to put the control station down here. Let's ground this rocket, and that's just preventing the dupes from using anything unless they're actually traveling. They should at least still load food into this area here. This never became a laboratory. Oh, and is that because that's an industrial building? Okay, well, let's try avoid not having a gas pump in here, because there's no continual source of hydrogen, because all the oxygen is being pumped into the rocket itself, as opposed to having a electrolyzer that's inside the rocket where you get a mix of hydrogen and oxygen. This should be pure oxygen area, except for possibly a little bit of hydrogen at the top. Let's validate that we've got some stuff. Private bedroom. Private bedroom, private bedroom. We've got a washroom. We've got a great hall. Recreational room. Food storage. A little bit of food is in there. It currently is not frozen, but the temperature is going down pretty quick, so that is awesome. I think... Oh, I just realized I don't think we have... No, we don't have oxygen. I forgot that. I think that's what I was doing around here. We're going to have an oxygen line going into this guy, and we'll get this rocket up in space, and we'll see what it's going to do. Now, because I've got oxygen in here, I'm going to enable this. This will only backfire if I get more than 5 dupes that go in here at a time, which might happen, but we'll try to live with that. I'll try to minimize the amount of building in this zone. But, yeah, I've got some batteries. I think everything exists. Oh, my cooling line's not operating. Okay, let me do the cooling line and put in the oxygen into here, and I think we're going to be done. So, enriched uranium has just been delivered. That's because the rocket has landed here, and I've got a lot of enriched uranium, gold amalgam, and some other stuff. So now I can start to experiment on this system, plus generate a whole lot more power. It's probably going to be more of an exciting thing to see in the next episode, since this is going to take a little bit of time to get warmed up. Inside this rocket, putting in a little bit of piping to complete the hydrogen line that's going to go all the way through, and the oxygen line that will get up to the telescope. No idea whether this is actually going to work, but experiment that I think is worth it to at least find out. So let's see, where are we? We now have oxygen going into the telescope. We've got a hydrogen line that's making its way all around. And that's evening out the temperatures, taking in a little bit of cooling if it's in fact needed. And by the way, let's look at the temperatures of things. Things are pretty warm, probably because they started warm in here, but I can see a lot of heat's probably come from the electrolyzer. I've got some radiant pipes going through that zone, so hopefully over time that's going to go down. And then the rest of the rocket is also going to be having this pipe. I made them out of granite. If there's any spot that's not quite able to keep it cool, I'm going to put radiant pipe. Just try and put in 2 locations, one here and here. But I'm thinking that might just keep my rocket happy in a decent temperature. In addition, of course, creating freezing where this food exists. We've got a manual generator, we've got a hydrogen generator. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I didn't put... Oh. This is kind of what I was worried about, hydrogen backing up too much in this line. You know what, let me just put a fix into that last piece, and then I think we might be ready to send this rocket off. Of course, I'm also wanting to bring in some material. Probably top of the list is algae, just in case we run out of water. That's going to have an alternate source of oxygen. But some other material, igneous rock, gold amalgam, some plastic. Might bring in some steel and other rare resources. Some glass would be nice, so that if this rocket ever goes anywhere useful, which will hopefully will one day, we'll have some material to build some interesting stuff when we're there. Okay, so maybe this will be the last change that I make before this rocket launches, but what I did is I had a little line here that directs hydrogen to prefer to go this way, but if it goes back this way, essentially gets backed up, it's going to send a true signal. This is looking for hydrogen, and I've got this connected here. If either one of these is true, we need a little bit of power, or hydrogen is backed up, then in that case we can burn hydrogen. Otherwise, we'll conserve it in the pipes. Actually built this little extra bit over here to store a little bit more hydrogen. So that's nice because as during the daytime, when we have access to solar panel, we may not need it. But the excess hydrogen might store up during the day, and that's something that we can utilize in the evening. Well, it would appear to me that we have everything we need. A little bit more hydrogen, or oxygen rather, needs to get into these guys, but that can happen in time. We're loading in some plastic. That's not really super essential to have. But yeah, lots of oxygen in the cabin. Large living area, small little section of life-sustaining equipment over on this side. For solar panels. I'm very curious whether there's a point to the mission control or enclosed telescope. We'll find out soon enough. I think it is time. We're going to enable this guy, since we have at least 2 or 3 of these available. That means that the dupes that get over here will take their suit off by default. I won't have to do that for them, which is so nice. Yeah, more important than that, we've got proper food storage. We're producing power. High quality living arrangements. And let's look at the decoration. Let's see, max. Yeah, a lot of places where the dupes are going to be hanging out. They'll be quite happy. I even put in some carpeting to get some twinkle toes to hopefully reduce stress. If there is going to be any stress area, which I wouldn't necessarily expect there would be. I think we're ready. Oh, okay, I guess, you know what? We have no engine. And I had planned on making this Red Bolt engine. So, I think what I'm going to do is add on a component. Let's put in carbon dioxide engine, and we'll just move from here. And I'll build a rocket platform over here, and we'll launch it. But I think that's going to be in the next episode. Let's make sure as I did that, that doesn't muddy things up. That looks fine from over here. We don't want hot liquid going there. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. And what I need to do now is just direct that carbon monoxide over, so that it will get into that rocket, and we'll move it over in the next episode. And then we'll replace that with a Red Bolt engine and actually see what it does on its first true mission. So very excited about this. This is the first design of a rocket that has walls open. If you have anything you see that might be a problem here, or just general things of what you might do different, please leave that in the comments and I'll have a look. Otherwise, hopefully I will see you in a future episode where we'll put this rocket to work and see how it goes. Until then.